Hello folks, and welcome to our Silver Moments, and my name is Colleen, and here we are right in the busy season of Christmas, and it's a pleasure to have people come and go from our homes, and we want to be good hosts, and there's a lot going on. So we have meals to prepare, we have gifts to shop for, we have gifts to wrap, we have plans to make. And while some of us are, pushing ourselves to make everything perfect and to make everything from scratch, some of us as we age tend to slow down a little bit, but there's still something special about having people to your home and being able to prepare a meal for them. And sometimes shortcuts are an awesome way to feel good about what you're doing and not feel so pressured during this busy season. So I'm going to make some recipes today that should help to put wonderful desserts before people or treats, and feel good about what you've done, and surprise them with something that looks fantastic and tastes just as good. So I'm going to grab the ingredients for the first dish, and I will be back right after this. The first of these shortcut desserts is going to be a pumpkin square, and I have quite literally bought a pumpkin pie from the grocery store, and I'm being challenged to get into it right now. And this pie is not only in a box, it's like wrapped up like Fort Knox, it also has plastic over it. It's the first time I've seen that. But I guess it would help to hold everything all together, which is a good thing. They can be a bit crummy. So get yourself into the pie would be the first trick. That probably takes the longest time of all of this. Now, I have a cookie cutter here. It's a square one, or a biscuit cutter. You could use a round one. You could use one that's bigger to make a bigger portion, or you could use smaller ones and maybe make 2 or 3 on the plate. It depends on what you want to do. So I am going to go right into the pumpkin pie, close to the edge. Let's face it, most of these pumpkin pies that are bought, the crust isn't all that anyway. So definitely this is an opportunity to cut the crust off. Now you need to be able to finesse this up and get your fingers under here and remove that square. And there you have it. Beautiful little square. I've just got some on my hand. And I am going to just put a little bit of icing sugar in my sieve and just give it a couple of gentle taps so that some spills over on the plate as well. And then I am going to use a bit of whipped cream out of a can and just a sprig of mint on the top. Now, have a look at this fancy little dessert. We took it from a store-bought pie with a poor or not as good outer crust to a beautiful little dessert. And I think anybody would be happy to have that. One of these pies, this is, I think they call this the 7-inch pie. Well, again, it depends on the size of the form that you're using, but I will be able to get 4 servings out of this. And then there's scraps, and you can always put the scraps all onto one plate and make sure that's the one that you get. So, number one, I think that there are lots of other ways to do this. So I'm just going to run through the process. You could yourself, depends on how far you want to go back, you could grow your own pumpkin, and then you need to take that pumpkin and roast it in the oven, and then you need to mix in the eggs and milk and the things that go into it, as well as the spices, and bake the pie yourself. Or you could just buy one of these store-bought pies and slice it into regular pie shapes and serve it to your guests that way. Or you could do this. So I think this shortcut might be worth a try, and I hope you think so too. On to the next one. Okay, number two. This also is one of those things that you could make from scratch. We're going to do a warmed brownie with ice cream and caramel sauce. And you could start this off by making your own brownie mix and cooking it in the oven. That'll take you a while, but it can certainly be done if you've got the time to plan it and put it into the plan. Then you could certainly do that. And let's face it, it's going to be a bit better if it's homemade. You could buy a brownie mix or a kit from the store and do up the kit or mix. And today I've chosen to pick up brownies already made from the grocery store, which I had to grocery shop anyway, so this seemed like a reasonable thing to do. I'm going to pop out one of these brownies. This one's divided into 4. But I think that you could buy ones that are whole and then cut them to the size you want. Again, you could use a cutter or a shape if you wanted to, but I think pretty traditionally brownies are square. These just happen to be giant-sized ones, and I don't know if you can see, but they have chocolate chips in the top of them. So I'm going to pop this in the microwave for about 15 seconds, and then we'll move on. Actually, I doubled the time. I left it in for 30 seconds, and I can see that the little chips are just starting to melt. Now I've got some Vanilla Trilogy, vanilla ice cream, and I am just going to serve up some ice cream onto the top of this warm brownie. You can certainly do 2 if you like. It doesn't have to be quite so fancy. There we go. Now, I've got some Smuckers, which I always seem to have trouble getting into. Let's see how we make out today. Some Smuckers caramel sauce. And I was happy to find this on sale when I went to purchase it. And I'm just going to give this a drizzle. And I have just a little after 8 treat that I'm going to just set right there in the middle. And I think anybody would be happy to have this follow a nice meal that you prepared for them. So I hope that this is something else that you would consider in your shortcut recipes for the holidays. Oh, it looks so good. It smells so good. Anyway, I'm not going to eat this one, I promise. I am going to hand it off to somebody else to eat. But, folks, I think that this would be a great dish for you to be able to make for the holidays. And you can see that took me no time at all, and the ingredients are pretty readily available at the grocery store these days. So do consider something like this for your holidays. And now I'll move on to the next one. Now, for the last of these shortcut desserts, I'm going to be making a kind of a trifle, I guess, if you will. I'm going to start off with a glass. I wish I had one that had sides that went straight up instead of kind of curved in closer to the top, because it would make it easier when you're fishing out of the glass to get your dessert out. But this will work just fine. I'm going to start with a glass. I'm going to use some of this Ready Whip. You could definitely whip your own, and it would stand up probably better than this. So keep that in mind. It's entirely up to you. You definitely want to make this just before you serve it. And I am going to put some Cool Whip in the bottom. No, it's not Cool Whip. I'm going to put some real whipped cream in the bottom. I have here a store-bought angel food cake that I just purchased at the grocery store. I'm going to use it for the cake part of my trifle. And I am just going to layer it in. If you find it a little too dry, you could definitely, I'm going to add bananas to this, so anything that had a banana flavoring would be great to soak your sponge in. But this one seems to be pretty moist. In fact, it's stuck all over my fingers. Give me a sec. And then I'm going to add some fruit to this. So I'm going to use some bananas. And just make sure there's no strings hanging off it. And slice this banana. And about a third of a banana is what I put in there. I'm going to press it down a little bit. I am going to add some chopped up pieces of strawberry, and I'm really just doing that for color, but also flavor. I have these store-bought banana flavored puddings. You could use any kind you want. You could skip this step altogether. It's entirely up to you, but I'm just going to add this as my pudding layer on my dessert, on my little trifle. And then last but not least, I'm going to finish it off with some more whipped cream. And a strawberry that I've cut. And there it is, folks. I will hold it up a little closer so that you can see there's all the layers that you would find in a trifle that you slaved over. And you didn't. I think your guests would be pleased to dive into this and eat it. And I hope you've enjoyed these 3 little shortcut desserts for the holidays, or really for any time. But I'm thinking particularly of the holidays because it seems like we all have very limited time during this season. I hope this brings a blessing to you, and that you, if you like this, that you'll consider subscribing to the channel. Give it a thumbs up or a like. If you're looking for more information about me or the channel, you can find it in the description box below. And I would look forward to your comments, and I look forward to being back here with you again real soon to share some more recipes that may help you in the holiday season. So until then, everybody, take care, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.